Alright everybody, welcome to Big Boss Gaming. So if you're new here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a whole lot. This channel is going to be based on single player games, giving reviews and basically my opinion on the single player games. I'm just a normal guy who doesn't like to spend 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 bucks on a video game and not be worth the money.
Hey there.
If you want honest reviews, this is the place for that. But also, I'm going to cover a lot of stuff: COD, Warzone, things like that, multiplayer games, loadouts, anything to do with any of that. So make sure you're subscribed, you got that notification bell on. That way, every time I post something new, you'll get the notification for it. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Yes, this game has been out for a while, but it recently got an update on the next-gen consoles, improving graphics and several other things, whether it's mechanics of the game and things like that. So my honest review on this game is, if on a scale from 0 to 10, I would have to rate this game 10, definitely. I do not, this is not one of those single-player games that you spend the money on and later on down the road you regret it. You may have enjoyed it the first or second playthrough and then it just sits on your counter. This is the type of game that I've had since release, and I still pick it up all the time and restart the story mode and the DLCs of this game and stuff. It is an amazing, amazing time. One of the biggest hurdles in this game to get over is the combat. The combat is a little clunky. It does not feel very fluent, if that makes sense. But it is, it's one of those things, once you learn it and you get it down, then there's really no issue to it. Everything else kind of falls in line. Now, when it comes to the story within the main story, the side quests, the DLCs, everything in general, CD Projekt Red put in a lot of time on this game. It is an amazing story-based RPG, and you have tons of options. So whether you can choose who you want Geralt to be, or what you think Geralt should look like in your eyes, which is one of the biggest things. And it doesn't feel like the decisions you make are useless, because the decisions you make expand within the world. So depending on the decisions, people could act differently to you, or they could be nice, they could be rude. There's several different options to this, but either way, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has two protagonists. One is Geralt of Rivia, and you have Ciri, which is, well, I'm not going to really spoil who Ciri is, but you'll learn more about her in the Wild Hunt once you jump into the game. I don't want to really give any spoilers. I know the game's been out there for a while, but still, at the same time, you may be new to it. So you have these two, and Geralt's trying to find Ciri. Ciri is jumping between worlds and things like that, and he's having a hard time finding her. And that's where the main story is based on, is finding her and taking care of the Wild Hunt. You'll get more detail within the story. But moving past just the main story between Ciri and Geralt, you have a DLC that CD Projekt released called Heart of Stone. And Heart of Stone in itself could be a game. It's amazing that a company would release a DLC like this, especially for free, when this DLC could be a game on its own. It has an amazing story. You have Geralt again as the protagonist, meeting a man named Olgierd von Everec. And Olgierd von Everec has a contract for Geralt to complete on a monster, and then some things happen and some stuff fall apart, and Geralt gets tied in with another, I don't want to say guy, but he's something different. And his name is Gaunter O'Dim. And Gaunter O'Dim, you have the choice to work with him or Von Everec and stuff like that. There's just a lot of choices that can determine the outcome of Heart of Stone. And it's just an amazing time, an amazing experience. A lot of little side stuff factored in inside of that quest. specific, and it's just an amazing time. You meet some of Geralt's old friends that you may not have heard for a while, especially if you hadn't never played any of the other Witcher games. You won't really know who they are, but either way, if you have but haven't played this one yet, you'll pick up on some friends that Geralt hadn't seen in a while. They really took their time to put in the work in this game. But moving on from Heart of Stone, you've got another DLC that Project released, that our CD Projekt Red released, that could have been a game by itself. It is an amazing story, amazing time. The world looks amazing. The people you meet are a lot different, so it feels something new. It's not old, and it's kind of a refreshing jump in to another part of the Witcher universe, if that makes sense. So in this part, Geralt finds a contract on a sign. Knights of Toussaint are looking for Geralt, so Geralt finds them and goes to them and see what the deal is. And basically the Duchess of Toussaint wanted Geralt to come there and help them with a monster issue they'd been having that had been killing their knights. So once Geralt gets there and gets informed, he runs into a lot of old friends and stuff, and it's just an amazing story from there. It really feels like an investigative experience, and it's just an amazing time. So now that we've got the three main stories out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the side quests. So the side quests that you pick up can be little side quests from something as simple as, hey, I need help finding this person. And it's not one of those where you just run around and you find them, you come back, you get a little reward and this, that, and the other. I found myself, every time I did the side quests and things like that, I wasn't really worried about the reward. I got so wrapped up in the story and stuff. A lot of times you have the option to accept a reward or tell them to keep the reward, and based on your actions depends on how people react to you within the world. So it doesn't feel wasted or useless or anything like that. So that's a lot of fun. And each individual side quest, monster quest, treasure hunter quest, you have just a crazy amount of detail that goes into it. That's really, it brings you into the game and you can get lost in it immediately. I mean, my first playthrough, I maybe put in 300 hours, and my second playthrough over 1,000. It was ridiculous. It was one of the games that I spent 95% of my time on. It just never got old. Like I said, the game came out around 2015, and I'm still picking the game up and playing it now. It's a very enjoyable experience, and something that you basically don't mind going back and playing. So moving on from the side quest, you have monster quest also, or Witcher contracts. And these Witcher contracts basically are people who are having issues with some type of monster. Now, these monsters, each time you accept a monster contract, you have to investigate the areas and stuff of where these monsters are known to be and identify the monster. And then you have a couple different ways you can approach, whether it's just straight up silver sword, head-to-head combat, or you can do the silver sword with potions and oils and signs that Geralt can cast to help you fight these monsters and stuff off that protects Geralt, or damages the monsters more and things like that. So there's a lot of alchemy and stuff like that involved, and it's not tiresome, especially if you're really deep into the lore and you really get drawn into the story, which you will be, especially if you enjoy story-based games. You have a bestiary, so anytime that you discover a new type of monster or anything like that, you can basically go to the bestiary and read all about that and figure out exactly what you need to use and what those monsters are about and stuff like that. So it really draws you in to make you feel like you are a Witcher within that universe, and it's just a very fun experience. So the combat mechanics, let's jump back to that real quick. The combat does feel kind of clunky. It's you'll see in this video, this is a playthrough that I made earlier that it's part of the Heart of Stone DLC, and the combat is kind of clunky. It does it can be aggravating at times, but it's one of those things. Once you get used to it, it's not really bothersome. It's okay. Let's do this type of combat, but at the beginning, it's kind of aggravating, kind of new. Nothing really kind of feels like it fits together, but once you get the timing and stuff like that down, everything kind of falls into place, and it gets a lot more comfortable. It's just getting through that. So either way, that is just my opinion on The Witcher. I think it's a great series, whether it's the books or the games. That's one thing that I did not mention. The games are based off of books written by Andrew Sapkowski. I think that's how you say his name. I can't remember. But either way, the books really highlight stuff that goes on in the game, so you can kind of understand who these characters are. A lot of people like watching the Netflix series. I would not watch past season 1. And base that as canon, because it's not. They jumped off of the sticking to the books bandwagon after season 1. So, and season 1 can be kind of confusing, especially if you're new to The Witcher. But I would suggest 2 approaches before you do play The Witcher. If you really, really want to get sucked into the story and feel like you're a Witcher or part of the Witcher universe, go to YouTube and just type in the timelines and lore of the Witcher universe, and it'll there's all different kinds of things on YouTube that you can look up that you can spend about 45 minutes on, and it'll go over all the books. It will go over the first 2 games, and a lot of the lore that comes into the gameplay. So you won't be stranded once you go into Witcher 3. You can not simulate your Witcher 2 save through the game, the decisions that the game thinks that you would make, and just add it in there and do a couple different playthroughs of it. It's a lot of fun either way. And you'll notice once you complete everything one time, you will definitely want to go back and play it again. So that's a summary of The Witcher 3. I hope you enjoyed the content. Make sure to like and subscribe. That really helps me a whole lot. Hit that notification bell. We're going to be talking about all different kinds of things about single-player games and multiplayer games. So make sure you stay tuned on that. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.